Ta-da! Welcome, everyone, to Tuesday night, Astrology and Alchemy. Week of September 12th through the 18th with Sarah and Matt. We're here. We made it. Can you believe it?
Yes,
Hard
we
to imagine
did.
sometimes. It feels like we were just here, which we kind of were. It was a week ago. So time flies when you're having fun. And I know for the first few, maybe even minutes, we have some advertising on YouTube.
Yeah, nobody's on yet.
So we'll wait a little, love a little.
There we go.
love
Chat's
a
on.
little.
Trying to get people.
So yeah, and it's back to school after the holidays, all those things. But also today is, I don't know how many people are watching this. Are you watching the Mexican UFO hearing? It was today at 3:00, and I didn't see it. I've not watched it yet.
Okay, no.
I'm so excited to watch it. Apparently, they are sharing a lot more stuff about their aliens than we did.
Interesting.
So, don't know what that means. But maybe tomorrow we wake up and there's a bunch of new news on aliens and UFOs and things. What do you think? Are you a believer?
I believe it's a possibility. I'm not. It's so weird. Like, I like the ghost stuff and like that kind of stuff. I'm not necessarily a huge
Are you a believer?
UFO person. Like, I believe it's possible. So, like, I'm not a non-believer in it. It's just I'm kind of.
You're not
Like,
a
I'm not
non-believer.
gonna
You're
get
just not
freaked
out
out.
there.
Like my whole worldview doesn't change if we find out that there's something out there. Like, I never understood the whole. I honestly never understood the whole idea that the whole fabric of society would unravel if we found out there were UFOs. Like,
People will still go to work. We'll still have to go to work, guys.
As we were just talking about, and I just shared it with you. I've been going through this like conspiracy theory iceberg, and there's so many of these theories that are like, we're a prison planet, and the Garden of Eden was our original planet. Like, there's so many like things that tie in like religion to other aliens and stuff. Anyway, that it is what it is.
Yeah. And they're all right. They're all wrong. They're all wild. Some of the ones Matt was sharing, I don't know if he's going to, after he listens to this long podcast, then reformulate his own thoughts and have his podcast of his own.
I might do a show on it. There's a couple I heard that I can do shows on. Yeah.
Man, that one we were talking about before the show aired tonight is one I'm excited to go down. But there's all sorts of little rabbit holes and wormholes that we have as of lately, guys, with the news. But we told you we did it's way over there now that I moved my desk, but it's over there. I promise. Our predictions for the year. Do you guys remember? We did that back in January, and we took time. Those of you who joined us, go back. It's on the show and the playlists to do our yearly predictions. We talked about aliens. We talked about weird CERN things. We talked about all sorts of really cool things that are coming to fruition. And tonight, if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, do yourself a favor. Step outside. Try and see that comet. It's the green comet. I've been calling it Mishi Mishi, but it's not Mishi Mishi. It's like Mishi Maru. It's not Star Trek's Kobayashi Maru. It's Mishi Mishi Maru or something like that. But there's a comet that's made its way that's bright, and some major and EMF difficulties tomorrow because of it. We'll see.
Oh, wow.
We shall see.
I'll just add for anyone who's interested that conspiracy thing I was talking about is the ocean at night. So if you want to do like a Google search at that, it's actually quite intriguing.
Right. It spooked me. I really
like a Cthulhu type thing.
Ooh, I love it. Ocean squids and gigantic Leviathan creatures just really creep me out. So yeah. And Steph says, well, they did put the NATO protector up in space. What's that saying? There's some weird space stuff going on, Steph. So We are going to keep our eyes and ears open. All right, guys, it is about that time. It's 5 minutes after the hour. It is time. Megalodon or not, Cthulhu, Kraken or not, we must tackle the next 7 days in astrology. How else will
We
we
both
get
have. I
through
heard some people commenting about
it?
internet stuff. We both
And
are
all I know is
experiencing storms, even though we're in different parts of the country. So, like, if we have issues, that could be what's going on.
I just told you it was a comet, guys. I just told you. First thing that's kind of weird, and I don't really know what this is. So I know that I throw these at you, Matt, and you have no idea what it is. Well, that's not true. Maybe you know all about it. But what I mean is that you're improv doing this. You have no idea what I'm about to say to you. What is the? I'm going to mess this up. Palace. I know we've got Stefan here. In astrology, what does Pallas, Athena, the symbol of creative intelligence, hinting at the sacrifice of a woman's creativity or lack of respect, the forefather-daughter issues, pointing to difficulties in linking your heart, head, and womb, planets Ceres, Pallas, Juno, and Vesta. So these are little teeny tiny baby planets. Little, is it an asteroid or a planet?
I think they're
Pallas?
asteroids, but
Is
yeah.
it Paias? Pallas. But it's Athena, which I didn't know that till right now. So kind of interesting. And so this is one that I just want to mention and throw out there for the astrologers joining us for Wednesday, tomorrow morning. Pallas, this little interesting asteroid thingy. No, it's a baby planet. No, it's an asteroid. No, it's a planet. We don't know. I'm going to have to research it because I'm not this. I don't know. It was mentioned. Don't get focused on making the right decision so much that you don't make a decision at all. This was suggested that people might be dealing with the hanged man kind of energy tomorrow. And then on top of that, you also have another little tiny thing happening for Wednesday, which was this one, but it also shows a moon phase. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one up there. And that's this. I clicked the button. I swear I did. Moon in Virgo is mostly what we're worried about. But then these little itty bitty planets swirling around doing stuff to suggest maybe something building. What do you think when you think of Virgo, Matt?
So moon in Virgo is, so moon's emotional, and Virgo, I always think of analytical detail, devil's in the details, I's dotted, T's crossed. So I feel that, like, emotionally people are going to want specifics. So I think I mentioned this last week with something that I think, like, words are going to be very important. So pay attention to what is said to you. Be very specific about what you say to others, because people are going to be very keyed in on the details of things.
I love it. You said keyed in, just as I said, wisdom are key. Athena and wisdom are key. Pay attention to those synchronicities and just how they play themselves in your space tomorrow. Wednesday's a pretty calm day, I would say, intergalactically, I would say, but it's kind of that calm before the storm. Because Thursday, for all of you witches out there, Thursday will be the day that you can get naked and go dance naked by the bonfire. And you can tell them I told you so. And that's because it's a new moon. Look at that. In Virgo. I say it isn't Virgo. It is my sign. Virgo is my sign. Virgo, 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 Virgo. And then a little more. So Thursday's new moon in Virgo. What do you think of when, especially a new moon?
So it's like paired with Pisces, which is introspection and kind of the end. So it's kind of, I view the dynamic between those two as, and it is how I kind of view the lunar cycles, is kind of the kind of development between the two signs that are opposite of each other. So, Pisces at the full moon is introspection and kind of psychology, digging deep into it. And so I feel like Virgo is the details, the analytical part of things. So this is kind of, I don't know how to word it. It's what do I need to look into? What do I need to pick apart? What things do I need to reach deep inside of me to figure out or learn? So I feel it's a very introspective cycle. So the Virgo and new moon is kind of the questions that you want to ask, and then this cycle will be about digging inside of you to dig up those answers.
Dig up. Ooh, I love that. I put in my space unearthed, dug up, and buried. As far as that new moon, like transformation, I think of the earth. I think of Virgo and nurturing and earth. And, lately I have been out. I got stung in the face by a bee this past weekend because we were out. I was plucking things out of the ground and out of the middle of nowhere, there it is. And so you don't expect that. And I feel that way about the Virgo new moon. And I put myself back in the space where like you're doing a new project, you've got a new job, you've got a schedule, you have a new routine, something is new in this space, that Pisces introspection, maybe even some emotional spaces, and Mercury, talking about things or communication being new, the ways that you're focusing on things being new, hair sort at the age of innocence, that age of innocence, from the 90s. And the shadow work was unearthed. What is it that you are unearthing, digging up, or burying? And I think that earth energy, digging, fruit, harvest, pulling things up and using, in this case, we were using black-eyed Susan roots. So cutting them up and making tinctures with them. What are you doing with the things around you? Are you learning from them? Are you learning the lessons from the issues around you? Are you learning how to take care of that bee sting on your face? Are you learning how to deal with these new routines that you have set up? Or are you going to bury your head in the sand like an ostrich and choose not to engage? I think that this new moon is going to be very telling for people going into the new season. Ooh, Steph. We've got so many cool people in the chat room. Steph, Carson, chat said, Steph says, I think you need to look back into Wednesday where the moon has a conjunctivitis. Mercury, look for some news in the world or downloads, a heads up, a secret that's let out. That's going to be a UFO thing.
Well, Mercury is communication and the moon is emotion, and they're both in Virgo. So that you combine those energies.
Virgo.
So again, communication. So I would just say that just doubles down on what I was saying earlier about pay attention to language people use, because the words are going to be very important.
Very important. And let's not get too crazy because, okay, then we've got Friday. So that's Thursday, the new moon. Guys, go to the dollar store, get your candles, get your stuff that you're doing. For me, I always do like door hangers. Some people are, putting salt under their door, casparilla powder, goofer dust, whatever little routines or things that you do for the new moon. Get ready for that Thursday. But then Friday, for your pen and paper, for those people using this as a predictive space for your intuition. 1, 2, 3 dots on your piece of paper. And one of them is exactly what we were just talking about for Friday morning. She said, not conjunctivitis. I know you didn't mean that. Friday morning, Mercury is officially going to be direct. So we're no longer going to be retrograde, but it is also in the sign of Virgo still. It's in that constellation space in the sky. But Mercury going direct. Thank goodness. What do you have to say for just the Mercury going direct on Friday morning?
Well, when Mercury is retrograde, it means that, communication gets misinterpreted. So this is just things will be clear. So look for, again, I'm sensing a theme this week of words are important. Pay attention to what is said on Friday, because communication will become clear. So things can be clarified on Friday. Communication will be much more accurate on Friday. So pay attention about that.
And the brutal truth coming forward, maybe in certain spaces. I think Virgo sometimes can be a little forward, but all of that, not hearing from someone, not getting all the stuff, we had family funerals this week, and like kind of crazy, right? Just mania, school starting, routine changing, like all that stuff. Blah. Friday morning, work ethic gets back on track. Thank goodness, says the Virgo inside of us all. Thank goodness. But also something else. Friday afternoon, remember we had a few dots. La 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 la. And that is this Friday afternoon series. Another little thing enters Scorpio, and the moon officially now will be growing or waxing in the sign of Libra. So, how are we going to start feeling Friday
Yeah, so the
afternoon?
emotions will shift from that detail to more balance and diplomacy. So, um, yeah, people will be a little more accommodating, a little more. It's funny because this is going to shift now. Things aren't going to be as direct because Libra's so
Right.
diplomatic, so they're not going to necessarily say what's on their mind right now. It's going to be they're going to say the right thing, not necessarily the honest thing. So yeah, that'll be interesting. So pay attention early on Friday because things will be clarified, and then it's going to start getting murky as we head into the weekend.
Moving gets murky. Man, I feel
Communication
like
gets murky.
I in my shadow work and divination for that day because of the series in Scorpio. So that theme of like movement or webs of connection, or series sometimes meaning like a deep life bond being made or broken in these weeks. So choose wisely, keeping your company, choosing that wisely. And so then when you added that moon growing in Libra of moving gets murky, feelings maybe, I had written right versus right, Right, versus right, Rite. Libra and Scorpio, right versus right. So that's the kind of work that I will be doing that Friday afternoon. But there's one more thing. Whoa! I don't know what I just clicked on there. My computer just went wild. Friday evening, something else is happening. This is the last thing to be happening on Friday. So let's go ahead and add this to the list. Unless, of course, Steph and our other astrologers in the chat have something to add. Friday evening, the sun in Virgo trine Uranus in Taurus. And that's retrograde, by the way. Uranus in Taurus retrograde. But the sun in Virgo. So what do we have to say about this energy? The computer and Farmer's Almanac said joyful. Joyful and lucky. Do we agree?
I'll view it that way. Trying synergy. And so Uranus. Oh, Steph's asking about. Yeah, I'd say we generally don't do like the quincux and the more minor aspects. She was calling out some quincux stuff. Sun in Virgo. So again, this is kind of your core self. Again, detail, analytical, kind of picky. Trying is synergy with Uranus is the wild card, the rebel. Taurus doesn't stable and indulgent. So I always view this as this is rebelling by not doing. So, but it's retrograde. So I feel like this is again, you're going to rebel by not doing, and people aren't going to get the message when you try to do it that way. So I see this as people are going to be, again, I always think of specifics with Virgo. So people are going to be very intentional and targeted in the things they decide not to do. So this is one where I'd say read between the lines. If somebody lets you down or somebody does something unexpected, if somebody fails to do something that they're normally expected to do, there's probably something behind it. It's not just merely, oh, oops, I forgot, or things along those lines. There's probably some intention behind it.
Oh, I don't want to say that I hate those kinds of days, but I kind of hate those kinds of days, man. I don't want to deal with that. Okay. That's okay. That's okay because I'm looking ahead, and unless the amazing Steph, and again, those other astrologers joining us from whether it's Odyssey or Subspace Radio or YouTube, the channel, the Paranormal Channel, or Paranormal Sarah, or Astrology and Alchemy, all of it.
Yeah, and I didn't want to downplay the Quincux thing. Those things are all valid. It's just we usually don't cover those.
And this is why you guys should join along, like on the YouTube, for example, if you're on the Paranormal Sarah, Steph joins us every week. And I love some of these additions
Really
that you
good
see
stuff.
in the chat room, right? Where those little things, the little North Node, Quincux, you know that we can start messing those words up if we're not careful. Healthcare workers, some kind of a new routine around healthcare. She says, ooh, so that's kind of an interesting thing to mention. And so I often will go add that because that's that opportunity for us to learn from each other. So I'm going to add over here, North Node, maybe healthcare shift. So this is really cool to put down because when that happens, again, this is Friday, and we're watching the news, we're looking at the newspaper, those of us wherever we're at in the universe, the world, Rhode Island, Long Island, New York, Chicago, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, it doesn't matter. On Friday, we'll see that shift and we'll know, oh my goodness, we talked about that. How wild is that? And you really do start to feel connected. You start to feel like you can look down and look up and have an idea of what is going to influence and impact you. That's a Friday. Absolutely.
Uh-oh. She locked up.
Next for the fall. I did?
Oh, you're back. You're back.
I said
Mm.
COVID.
I have to say, because I've been people that are friends with me on social media, and I kept saying that I felt like this was something that was being intentionally stirred up. You know, we will not comply and all this. Because I'm like, I didn't hear anything. And now I know, like, just like in the last like 48 hours, I know like a ton of people that are sick. So
here we go.
It's here.
Boom. So Saturday, put a dot. This is the one major thing happening on Saturday. Venus, ooh, baby, and Leo squaring off with Jupiter in Taurus. And I believe Venus is direct, Jupiter is retrograde. So, however that may affect things. How do you feel about Venus and Leo, Jupiter and Taurus?
All right, so square is actually conflict. So Jupiter's opportunity. So this is an opportunity to indulge. Taurus is very indulgent, but also Taurus doesn't really change much. So I always say stable and indulgent. Venus, romance or money in Leo. Leo is ego. So I always view this as romantically, people in relationships are going to want to know, kind of how is the relationship affecting me? How are my needs being met? How is this relationship serving me? And it's being in conflict with opportunity to indulge. So kind of reading between the lines here, I view this as I take this as like infidelity energy, to be honest.
Oh, no.
Especially on a Saturday.
It is a Saturday.
Be careful.
It's this Saturday.
These opportunities are going to present themselves. So this is not be careful what you do on Saturday.
So we put that. Man, I look down at my shadow. Yeah, the left hand. So the left hand, and that's, giving and receiving, left hand energy, Jupiter, I always often compare Jupiter to my Chris Farley of the galaxy, gimme, 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 gimme. And retrograde, that's kind of like those parts of the movie where he doesn't have David Spade or someone to walk him through the scene, where you completely let that person improv alone without guidance. And you have it in the Ferdinand the Bull Taurus, where it's very stubborn. It's going to do what it's going to do. It's like taking cocaine from a baby. It's just not going to work.
I'll just say real quick, it's just Kenny, beware of people feeding your ego.
Right.
This is like where somebody that may want to seduce you or get something they want from you will play up to your ego. So
Or
yeah,
the word
beware.
honey potting.
Yeah,
Honey potting or honey
That's
dicking.
really it. It's like a honey trap.
Honey trap. So be careful. Ah, I just learned about that word just recently. So that's a big deal. Venus in Leo squaring off with Jupiter in Taurus. And so unless Steph has something extra, people go, hey, what's wrong with being seduced by crazy stuff? And Steph says, well, I see that for Sunday. And what's funny is I actually have for Sunday, it's the exact same thing, only it's like the second day that it's that. So it's that energy compounded on Sunday. So you have it moving into that on Saturday, and on Sunday it's like really sitting in that space, and that's the only thing shifting on that Sunday. So understanding this, it was like, okay, reiterating, laziness can take over, indulging can take over. You might feel too good and have a hard time finding any motivation to do anything else. You might be stuck. Get stuck. So unless anyone else on their Farmer's Almanac, and Steph says, well, I also have the moon squaring off with Pluto on Sunday. So that's worthy of mentioning, I think, because any Pluto shifts, you have the moon just on the edge of, let's see, it would still be in Libra. Moon in Libra squaring off with
Pluto and Cap.
Pluto and Capricorn retrograde also. So when you think of that on Sunday evening with that compounded Venus ego jazz, what might be the thoughts for Sunday evening?
So I view this as people may have some grand, emotional diplomacy for things. And Pluto's big and impersonal, and Capricorn's all about achievements. And since it's retrograde, I feel like, a lot of these things are going to be kind of blowing crap up. So I feel like your emotional attempts at diplomacy are going to like blow up in your face and go like south. So not the time to have like tough talks or tough, difficult emotional discussions. Certainly not an energy where I want to try to convince somebody of something. I would put those conversations off.
Wow. Think about
Pluto's big and profound too. Like when it's a Pluto shift, it's like big stuff. This is like where I'd look at news things too. So I'd look on the, and this could be anywhere. I'm not just look on the world stage, but when Libra, I always think of diplomacy. Mm-hmm. So I feel like some diplomatic thing like totally blowing up. So some snafu or some, and it could be anything. It could be, India and China. It could be countries we're not even paying attention about, but I feel like some big diplomatic snafu on Sunday.
Man, is snafu an anagram?
I have no idea. I don't know why that just popped into my head, but
I don't know either. And I'm wondering, because sometimes I look at that and I think, oh man. Okay, so I want to look at this. I've got a conspiracy theory window open that I don't want to go down. I don't want to take it down. Snafu is an acronym that's widely used to stand for the sarcastic expression of a situation normal, all fucked up. It's a well-known example of a military acronym slang for something's boulderized, all fouled up. The situation's gone bad from a normal state of affairs. Situation normal, all fucked up. I didn't know that. I really didn't know that.
So basically,
something's going to come out.
Fugazi and snafu are all kind of related.
Fugazi? Did you just say Fugazi? Okay, we got to definitely put that on.
Great band, but also another military acronym.
It is. And so I've got to put that for Sunday night. Now, that's a Sunday evening. So it's got to be something on the other end part of the world. It would have been their Monday morning.
Yeah, something. That's why I was kind of thinking something Asia.
Isn't this fun how we do this, guys? Okay, So
Although I do
Dolly,
feel just in
welcome.
general, when we talk, just really quick, when we talk about predictions, and this isn't an astrology thing, this is just a general thing. I think, for us folks in the States, we just need to sit back because China, Russia, and India have so many overlapping like conflicts that I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but like China published a map where it had part of Russia as now China and part of India as China. And they had, as much as Putin's flipping out over Ukraine, China had this meeting with all the other like former Soviet republics in the East and Central Asia, and they didn't invite Russia. Like, there's all this like crap going on.
I really want there to be like an American History Channel that is like South Park, but that does have characters like the Team America World Police, where they're like, all right, guys, and here we are. Here's our map of where we're at. Wait a minute. That's not your map. This is all of our land. That's not your land. This is our land. Well, this was our land last time we did. Like, people start bickering. Like, it just would be really cute.
Yeah. So that's what I mean.
Okay.
This could be nothing. I know we usually kind of fixate on, as my dogs go nuts, we fixate on our own kind of place we live. But, I have a feeling this is going to have nothing to do with the U.S. This is going to be, or even nothing to do with Europe. This is going to be a Asia thing.
Well, we'll see. It's only Sunday night. It's not
Which
too long
still
away.
Impact us, but it's not directly.
Okay. Now, if you guys see or feel or have anything else happening, do please let us know. Otherwise, we are going to wake up and it'll be Monday morning here. That green comet will be all the way out of the sky. Hopefully it didn't hit us, and we will be all good. And Monday morning, the only thing I have really showing on that Farmer's Almanac for the planetary movements is the moon waxing. Yep. Growing, getting bigger into the sign of Scorpio, which I will say does make me a little nervous because Scorpio season. But what do you think about the moon at least waxing in this space finally?
So this is where that emotion shifts from diplomacy to that dark emotional intensity. But I say it's like a river, the current, the emotional stuff underneath isn't necessarily what you see. That's the cool yet dangerous thing about Scorpio is they have a great poker face. You don't really know what's cooking. And this has nothing to do with your sun sign of Scorpio. This impacts everybody, but there's going to be like these intense emotional undercurrents now starting to brew on Monday. But I always say that we talk about the moon a lot because the moon changes every 2 or 3 days, but because it changes every 2 or 3 days, these energies are like fleeting. They aren't like as strong as like when we talk, like when it's a Pluto thing, it's like big, strong energy. This will influence you. It's emotions. So everybody's going to feel it, but it's quick.
Passing, fleeting thing I have written down. It's kind of funny because I had Run Me Like a River, run me like a river, song. Dangerously cool, you said. So I definitely have to add that the intense undercurrent brewing. There's probably a water thing going on. Scorpio is a water sign. The moon is a yin energy. So we're going to go ahead and say it's feminine, earthly, watery, inner, introspective. So inner passions, intensities, feelings of the heart, matters of the heart. So whatever it was that was not good to be mentioning on Sunday, and to just really not bring it up because it's going to be a snafu. Don't do those things. Stuff's brewing. Monday, you might have certain feelings about that. You might start feeling it getting right up and tough in your throat, but you still maybe want to wait a little bit longer, unless you guys have anything left.
Well, I'll add real quick. This is like, the things that maybe people went ahead and did say on Sunday when the moon shifts into Scorpio. These are the things where now it's going to sit. People are going to be thinking about that thing that was said and go, you know what? Now that I think about that, that really pisses me off. And so, yeah, stuff will just be brewing now on Monday.
Ooh. And I love the additions in the chat room. If you are doing anything, trying to plan a back to school party and keeping it a secret, people's paranoia is going to grow. It's going to fester. I think of the word fester, maybe even. I think of Uncle Fester from Addams Family, but this this energy that something that you can't quite see. Steph shared, be careful of an obsession or to take things to heart. It would be a great time to investigate, research, and dig into things. I love that because the alchemy is that if you have all this water, oh my gosh, my pasta sauce is too thin. What do I do? Dig into things, ask questions, get the information, get the facts, add that earth energy, thicken up your gravy a little bit, add some flour, guys, add something to thicken it up and give you some stability. What else do we got? I think that's it for Monday, which leads us into the very last dot that you need to put on your piece of paper. It's crazy. It's kind of a quick week, but very monumental. Some movements, that new moon. But Tuesday, September 19th, it's going to be a full week. I can't believe it. And this is the only thing happening. The only thing you need to write on your piece of paper. Boop.
Your
There it
favorite.
is. Ugh. I hate Neptune. I hate Neptune shifts. This is definitely going to be a social worker day. This is going to be a day of crisis. This is going to be a day of fantasy. This is going to be a day. It's going to be a Tuesday. It's trash day for me. It's going to be trash day in more ways than one. What do you see for Sun and Virgo?
I see this as like doing an introspection on something, and this is like a very much of a Eeyore glass half empty attitude. So it's kind of like looking at all the details and comparing things to what you have as your ideal in your mind, even if it is not a realistic idea, and then getting kind of fixated on how things aren't stacking up to your fantasy or your idea. So it's not necessarily rational, but I view this as kind of, kind of glass half full disappointment type energy, but it's being disappointed by things that maybe aren't very realistic. Like, darn, I thought I'd be president, but I wouldn't want to be, but it's like that kind of stuff. It's just like delusional. I'm going to have a midlife crisis. I'm going to have a midlife crisis because I'm not a rock star or, millionaire or things like that.
It's my birthday's coming past and I didn't lose that last 5 pounds or 10 pounds or 20 pounds or whatever it was, know.
Again, I think it's not realistic. So yeah, it might be like, I wanted to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks and I didn't do it. Now I'm all upset.
Dang. Yeah. I didn't become independently wealthy yet. Yeah. Don't laugh at this because I know you kind of will and I love it.
I already laughed. So there. I laughed at this.
I put down for the shadow work Petty Kruger.
Oh, I like
Petty
that.
Kruger. Because I feel like Petty Kruger, man, what are we going to be petty about today? What are we going to be bitching about today? And also like the dreams and delusional space of, it's just really going to get under your skin. It's really, are you going to let this be what takes you down? And it might be that day that's the day. Suns in Virgo, it just didn't go perfect. And it just, mommy dearest, and you used a darn wire coat hanger. You're gonna lose.
I'm gonna say real quick. I just get to a call to. I don't know. I might be misreading Dolly's chats, but am I missing? Do we have somebody blowing up our chat that we're not seeing? I may be misinterpreting that, Dolly. So I'm sorry, but I almost take that as somebody's in here disrupting. I don't know if maybe I'm just not seeing it, so I don't want people to think I'm ignoring it.
I don't know. Maybe you have a new admirer. I see that's the only thing I see at the very end. Petty Kruger. Petty. Petty. Not petty. Like pedicure, or in your case, pedo. That's my Monday through Friday job. Steph says, and don't forget on Tuesday, Jupiter, the moon opposes Jupiter and opposes Uranus. So let's go ahead and make some room on that because at that point, we've got our moon is in Scorpio. So that's moon
Scorpio, Taurus.
waxing in Scorpio opposing what?
So it'd be Moon in Scorpio opposite Jupiter in Taurus, because those two are opposite of each other. And so opposite is kind of this tension between the two. So it's still that indulgent opportunity with that emotional intensity. So I view this almost like, okay, I'm really pissed about something emotionally. It's kind of brewing under the surface. An opportunity to indulge myself, maybe in not the most constructive way. It presents itself. Do I do it or don't I? That is the tension. Steph, based on her, Steph's way in the indulgent thing. She's saying, go ahead and enjoy yourself. Where I'm saying,
she says, do it.
Where I'm saying, be careful. You may be acting at a impulse.
Careful. And I think it's interesting.
I'm a cat, I'm cold and calculated in my moves. So
right. He's going to have to think about it before he takes that risk. But it's good to think about that, because then that almost tells you that Tuesday evening, man, it's Taco Tuesday. People kind of had maybe a crazy weekend. Healthcare workers have had some new shifts in their job. We've got this like petty energy. Maybe some people not getting all the introspection that they wanted out of those false expectations. Monday's all delusional and stuff just didn't pan out. Tuesday, someone says, hey, I got $100. You want to go to the races? You want to go to the casino? Want to go do the thing? You know, maybe you have a partner who is trying to not gamble or trying to not do the thing or not eat the ho-hos. This might be an afternoon to just want to check in on self and others for distractions. Yeah, that's a good word in the chat. Don't be distracted from whatever your focus is. Tuesday might be a day to fall off the wagon. So don't let that happen to you. Set yourself up put some bumpers down. Give yourself some assistance.
Yeah, same thing with the because again, these are all kind of combined. So the same thing with that opposite of Uranus is the I always view it as rebelling by not doing. So the same kind of thing. So I'm pissed off. So I usually call so and so before they go away on a trip or something. I'm not going to call them, or but just be careful in those things, because those are the stories. Then I don't call them, and then they get into an accident, and I'll feel guilty for the rest of my life. And that was the last time Sheila ever got a call from John. Yep. I always think about that when I turn down a dark path. It's like, and this was the last time Sarah ever turned down that path again. I'm like, dang it, that's how my Unsolved Mysteries episode goes. So yeah, just be careful. Put in those extra calls to people. If you're thinking, man, I really shouldn't go out and have margaritas. I've been doing so good and I don't want to do it. Don't do that, because opportunities might present themselves and it's going to feel easy to do that thing. But that doesn't mean, sit home and stew and fester and make your life worse. Take those opportunities when you feel yourself saying, gosh, I really would like to go out. I just know that I shouldn't. Well, I really would like to go out and get some relief and distraction, but I also don't want to go do that. You might find yourself having to navigate a little extra to go, okay, you know what? I am going to go out. I am going to get out of the house, but I'm not going to do what's presented first. Give yourself some options. Don't just go with the first thing. So listen. Wait a second. So looking back through this week, guys, because that's it. That's the full 7-day layout of what is to come in the days ahead, astrologically speaking. When you think, man, new moon in Virgo, we've got some shifts in Pluto happening to remind us of all this life change. What do you think is maybe the most important thing to take away from this week? What are we predicting? What are we thinking? I'm going to say two things are going to be really important. First half of the week, up till Saturday, pay very close attention to words that are used in communication. There's going to be a lot of specifics. People are going to be very intentional in what things are said and how things are said. And then the second half of the week, stay away from tough decisions, like diplomatic type things are going to blow up in your face. But also keep in mind that some people don't watch the show, so people will go ahead and do those things anyway. And so just be prepared for stuff to kind of blow up in the second half of the week.
Stuff blowing up. I'm really interested in not only the comet. So here after the show, I'm going to go top off my coffee and call up my girlfriend in the cities who won't be able to see it because of the light pollution. But I will encourage her because the skies might be different there. Man, HAARP's been weird lately. Storms, like nobody's business that aren't supposed to be there, man. You know, you think you got a clear night and you don't. And you think you got a rainy night and you don't. The weathermen are just, man, they're 0 for 0 for 0.
Did the weather turn up there yet? Or is it still summerish?
It's one of those where, no, it went from being summer, 94 degrees, hot, hot, hot. What's the hot? We don't know. We're all dying of climate change, to 52 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Leaves falling, cold, pumpkins on the corner, you know, all that. So we completely missed the porch weather with no mosquitoes and went straight to turtleneck, sweater, and leggings. But that's fine. It's fine. And yeah, the El Nino wave is here, and it's very frustrating, I think, in that space. I really like cool weather and rainy afternoons, and I like to be able to plan for it and go get soup and bread and all this stuff. And lately it's been like, oh, it's going to be beautiful. So I get my fishing pole out and then I stand out and look at the rain, and I'm mad because I would have stayed in my pajamas and had soup. But instead I've got my mascara on and I'm ready to get out. So it's just kind of a little frustrating. And the Woolly Worms and the Farmer's Almanac has said that this year is going to be a pretty crazy winter with a lot of really unpredictable weather and really deep snow and really cold nights. And I don't know how I feel about that. What does it say up there? Is that the same news that you're getting?
Yeah, I think we're going to have a bad, it's interesting in that El Nino, when I used to, live up in Pennsylvania, we used to get kind of mild winters when it was El Nino and bad ones when it's La Nina. It's kind of the opposite here in the Southeast, in that El Nino, we get kind of the badder winters, and La Nina we don't. So I'm expecting we'll have a bad winter here. We actually didn't get the heat. Like, most of the country was burning. We actually had a very cool summer until just a couple weeks ago. We didn't have very many 90-degree days, and usually, we get like, high 90s, low hundreds for things. And so I think if that pattern sticks, we are in the middle of the second longest stretch without a snowstorm of, I think it was like greater than 3 inches. Again, we don't get a lot of snow here. So I'm sure that'll change this year. I'm sure we'll get pounded. I hate snow.
I need to change my fuel pump in my truck. My truck has been immobile for a few months, and it's my all-wheel drive vehicle. So I need to get my fuel pump going and get it cranked up and get help pulling all that out. And I just know that because I don't have that done yet, we're going to have bad weather. We're going to have bad weather. We're going to have it soon. So that's just how it goes. Wash your car and it'll rain.
Yep.
Right? All right, guys. So we are at the end of the show. It has been the full almost hour. We go right up to about 50 minutes here on the show every week, every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for Astrology and Alchemy. But I know that, Matt, you've got your show running on the weekends. What are you doing this weekend? Anything cool to look forward to?
Yeah, I've been doing our old videos from things and stuff. So this coming week is some spirit box sessions in Lily's room at Tala.
Ooh. So, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Last week was third floor of South Pittsburgh, which is always a freaky place. But
South Pittsburgh, that's where Matt and I go back from. South Pittsburgh and Chattanooga, Tennessee. Some of the most haunted places on earth. Matt and I have had the really wonderful honor and privilege to investigate. We've got some really cool stories for you guys. So if you want to hear more of those cool paranormal stories, go back into the archives and check out Sunday Night Dead every Sunday. You can find it at probably where you're listening to us now, whether it be Subspace or Odyssey or Paranormal, the Paranormal Station, the channel, the YouTube, wherever. But also mslosier@yahoo.com for anybody wanting to get a birth chart reading or astrology reading or any additional cool objective, stuff. Matt, come on. And we also do readings together. You can get a dual reading between the two of us.
Those are cool. And, you get kind of this yin and yang energy.
I love doing those because I like to do the reading and then I listen back to it and I hear Matt's side and then I know what I said. And so I get to kind of see what the reading is from a different perspective. And I think whenever you get a dual reading, you're getting basically, two different psychic, intuitive, objective, skeptical responses to the same information. And you get to apply it to your life in whatever ways work for you for guidance. It's really neat. Dolly in the chat room is saying, watch The Redacted presents Peace, War, and 911. Man, it is, we are on the cusp of that 9/11 remembrance. I know that that's very near and dear to a lot of us. for anybody who, I think most anybody who listens to the show was probably alive when that happened. So I know that's an experience we all kind of have under our belts. And that was yesterday. So I'm getting too many questions, says Dolly. So if you have questions, if you would like a reading, if you would like a birth chart explanation, if you want to expand on your own astrology, guys, reach out, let us know. It's back to school time. So I would love to do a reading and get that going. I know Matt and I both, we would love to do some readings, prep for the fall, and get to know you guys better. So if you are tuning in, let us know. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you, Steph. Thank you, Dolly. Thank all of you guys. Really do appreciate you tuning in. And so next Tuesday, right, Matt? What am I forgetting?
I think that's it. I think we got it.
Yeah, 9 p.m. next Tuesday. We'll see you guys right here on Astrology and Alchemy.
Thank you, Steph, and we'll talk soon. Take care, everybody.